It's COVID-19 360 and you are welcome. Now, yesterday we started a conversation about genomes, about infectivity tests, and whether that would help us better understand how some people can be infected, may have recovered, may still have the virus, but not be infectious. And it caused a bit of chaos yesterday, indirectly, but we'll have our virologist and also have Dr. Beth, our infectious disease specialist, converse about it and, tell us more about this particular theory. And also be talking about the use of plasma in curing people with coronavirus. It has proven effective in some countries, and so we're asking that moving forward, should we focus on that as maybe the potential cure for coronavirus? Much later, we'll also be speaking to some Ghanaians stranded abroad in China and also in South Africa. Now, we received an SOS message from China where they're saying that they've been given the go-ahead to leave the country now, especially for people whose visas had died. And now the Chinese government may have given them the permission to stay for a month, after which they can leave. And they are calling on government to open the borders so they can come back home. And so we'll speak to one of such Ghanaians living in China and also to some other Ghanaians in South Africa. And we'll give you the numbers as per the press briefing that we just witnessed a few minutes ago. And so, like I said, it's COVID-19 360. And you are welcome. Anita will be giving us those details, but we are being told that our numbers have gone up by 156 new cases. And so as it stands, Ghana has recorded 6,964. And Anita will be breaking them down for you as to, how many people have recovered, how many are in severe condition. At least the death still stands at 32. As well. And so this and many more coming up on the show. And if you have any questions, yesterday we gave our viewers the opportunity to interact with our doctors. And so today, if you have more to ask, then send us those questions via social media at TV3 Ghana or via WhatsApp as well. We're talking to Dr. Newman especially about the kids and the possible return to school. Should we, repeat the syllabus? Should we repeat their academic calendar for this particular term, especially because students have been home for that long? And so today is packed, but we'll try and give you all the answers that you require. It is COVID-19 360. And so look forward to that. We'll be right back.
The race to be crowned the next most talented kid in Ghana is heating up. Contestants have stepped up to the challenge with jaw-dropping performances. Our seasoned judges are fired up and ready to discover that amazing talent. Who will win the 10,000 Ghana cedis cash, 15,000 Ghana cedis educational scholarship, and a trip abroad, and earn the bragging rights of being Ghana's most talented kid? Catch the fun on your TV set this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. only on TV3. There will be no studio audience. Viewers can also join in the fun by participating in the Cowbell Fun video competition. Record a video of your child or children showing their talent and send to this WhatsApp number. Each week, the child with the best video will be rewarded during the show. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is powered by Indomie Instant Noodles. You like no other, and brought to you by
Cowbell,
GTP, Coltrane, Calipo, Fruitelli,
Cocoa dairy-free coconut milk, Deluxy acrylic paint,
and Napa Foods, McBerry Biscuit,
Heaven insecticide spray and coil,
Boss Baker, British Columbia College.
The story of an ancient myth has come back to life. Hrithik Raheja, an ambitious business tycoon whose past has beckoned him to where it all began.
एक सच जो मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ
कि वो जब चाहे इंसान का रूप धारण कर सके, उसे इच्छाधारी सांप कहते हैं।
His dreams his reality are all becoming entangled in a web of secrets. An unbelievable truth that has come to destroy everyone he loves, he cherishes, he protects.
नागिन लौट आई है, अब वो तुझे नहीं छोड़ेगी.
A saga of love, a tale of revenge. Nagin.
Nagin shows Tuesdays to Fridays, 6 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Cerelac.
Welcome back. It's still COVID-19 360. And like I mentioned, Anita has all the figures. I mean, if you're looking for updates on case count in Ghana, recoveries, deaths, and all that, you should know that she is the queen of numbers. So she's here.
I mean, when I wake up, it just starts coming. Like,
really?
Yes.
So you can see
I
ahead.
just flow like that.
I see.
Yeah.
Hello, Noguchi, TV3 and next. What's the case count? Tell us.
So we recorded 156 new cases, and the Ghana Health Service website, looking at their dashboard, they are yet to update us on the new figures we've been told this morning, but I have it all. And so 156 new cases, moving our figure from 6,808 to 6,964 confirmed coronavirus cases right here in Ghana. We have 27 new recoveries, giving us 2,097, and deaths still at 32 now. 5 out of the 16 regions have given us these new figures, and they are the Greater Accra region with 72, Ashanti region with 4, Central region 13, and Western region giving us the highest with 57. And like this morning it was mentioned, Western region is gradually becoming the new hotspot after Obuasi some few weeks ago came in as one of the epicenters in the Ashanti region. The Western region, especially Takrady, is becoming another hotspot. And like experts were sent to Obuasi to ascertain what exactly was happening, the same will be done for the Western region to find out what is giving us the high numbers in that particular region. And like we mentioned earlier, the Savannah region has also recorded its first case, and the details of the 31-year-old gentleman was given this morning. And we've also established 12 contacts from the same gentleman, and he works in Salaga but lives in Tamale. And so after more tests will be done, definitely more contact will be coming out of that region. And yesterday I was watching a report where a lot of the residents in the Savannah region are a bit agitated, looking at the fact that most of them were not adhering to the safety protocols and also observing all the social distancing protocols. And so the probability of a spread in that area is quite high, but we're hoping that it doesn't stay that way. And so for the deaths, it is at 32, and also 15 cases are severe but not on ventilators. And looking at the hospitals that have these 15 cases, we have the University of Ghana Medical Center with 4, the Ghana East with 3, Ho Hospital with 1, and then Kolibu with 3. Kumasi also has 3, and then 37 Hospital has 1. And number of people in isolation now stands at 800, with active cases at 4,835. And so when the updates are given on the Ghana Health Service website, we'll be bringing you all of that as well, and also the figures as it comes. But now let's move over to the African continent. And as you can see on this particular website, the figures are increasing. We started off with 100,000 cases. That was last week Friday, but yesterday we're around 112,000, and this morning we're looking at 116,103 confirmed coronavirus cases on the African continent, with South Africa leading the pack with 23,615 cases. Egypt coming in second with 17,967. Algeria is third with 8,503. Nigeria now at the 4th position on the African continent. Nigeria, as of yesterday, was 5th with Morocco in that position, which is the 4th. But Nigeria seems to be racking up the numbers. And Nigeria is one country that there's been a lot of concerns. Looking at their population, and even just Lagos has a huge population. So the numbers they were recording, there was a little bit of fear that Nigeria should have more figures. And it looks like they are inching closer to the 10,000 mark. And Morocco comes in 5th with 7,532, and then Ghana 6th with 6,964. Cameroon with 5,044. Sudan with 3,820. Now let's look at the recoveries as well. And this morning it is at 46,627. Now let's go to the countries that are recording the highest in terms of recoveries on the African continent. And South Africa is still leading with 11,917, and comparing the 11,000 to their cases of over 23,000, they are doing quite well with the recoveries. And Egypt has 4,900, and we're wondering, what is South Africa doing? Because there's a vast difference between the recoveries in South Africa and that of Egypt, but every country has a different method you're using in treating the coronavirus cases. And so we're hoping that the numbers also go high, just as South Africa is doing. And Morocco has 4,774 recoveries, Algeria 4,747, and then Nigeria, Ghana comes in 5th and 6th, with Nigeria with 2,311, Ghana we are now at 2,090, and Cameroon with 1,917, Guinea 1,701. Let's look at the deaths, which is 3,483. Okay, now let's look at countries recording the highest deaths on the African continent. Egypt comes in first when it comes to the deaths. South Africa is not leading when it comes to the deaths because they are leading almost all round. But when it comes to the deaths, Egypt has 783 deaths. Algeria with 609. South Africa comes in third with 481 deaths. And then Nigeria comes in fourth with 233. Morocco with 200. Cameroon with 171. And when you look at healthcare workers who have been infected by the coronavirus disease on the African continent, it has moved from over 1,301 as of last week to 2,462. That is how fast healthcare workers or frontline health workers are being infected by the virus. And it's rather sad because these are the people who are expected to be saving our lives. And so if this is the situation when it comes to healthcare workers, it is quite disturbing. But now let's look at the global case count globally. And the United States for some time now has been leading with over 1 million cases. And I doubt any other country globally will be able to overtake that figure. But now our figure globally stands at 5,512,055. That is 5,512,055. United States moved from 1.2 million as of last week to 1,662,768 globally. And Brazil has 374,898. Brazil, however, has overtaken Russia. As of last week, Russia was the second globally, but Brazil has racked up the figures. More numbers are being recorded, and their President Jair Bolsonaro is under a lot of pressure to speed up what he's doing. And also there are lots of concerns that maybe he's not doing much. And so that is why more numbers are being recorded in Brazil. But Russia is now second, recording over 10,000 and 11,000 in 24 hours. They are the third globally with 362,342. United Kingdom comes in fourth globally with 262,547, and then Spain with 235,400. And Spain, Italy, France, Germany, Turkey have been able to manage the cases very well. Initially, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, they were leading, but Germany doesn't have that much cases in the past couple of days. France as well, Italy, and then Spain. And so we're hoping that Brazil and Russia will be able to make headway. But now let's move over to the recoveries globally as well and find out which of the countries is leading. Now, when it comes to recoveries, we're standing at 2,247,952. 2,247,952 confirmed recoveries globally, and the United States also leads with 379,157 recoveries. And then Germany has also done pretty well when it comes to the recoveries. Looking at the cases they recorded in that particular country, and looking at the recoveries now, 161,591. They have a little over 10,000 active cases. out of this figure they are recording, and it is really impressive. And Brazil also comes in third with 153,833 recoveries. Spain, 150,376 recoveries. Italy with 141,981. Now let's look at the deaths globally and see which of the countries is also leading with the deaths as well. And okay, there you go. For the deaths, the United States is leading with 98,223 out of the global 346,612 global deaths recorded. The United Kingdom with 36,996 deaths. Italy, 32,877 deaths. And let's look at France coming in also with 28,460 deaths. Spain, 26,834 deaths. And then finally, Brazil with 23,473. And Brazil, like I mentioned earlier, is one of the hardest hit countries globally. And their cemeteries are overwhelmed. They are in Sao Paulo and other parts of Brazil. They are still trying to make more space for the deaths they are recording. And so we're hoping, as always, like I keep saying, that things go down a little bit. But now the projection is at 6 million. 6 million cases are expected to be recorded globally, and now we are at 5.5 million global cases. And so, Bella, looking at how some countries are struggling with coronavirus, of course, every country is struggling, but other people are really hard hit, making it very difficult. And talking about Brazil, they have moved from the 11th all through now to the 2nd.
I'm not surprised, honestly, because when you watch foreign news, you realize that when the president should have made sure that he put in place measures to curb the spread of the virus, he was joining protesters in, rallying against the use of nose mask and the need for social distancing and all of that. Even at this point, that's at when their numbers are at the second highest.
Yes.
He's still joining protesters. So I don't know if it's a case of denial. I'm not sure what exactly
that definitely
he's
is the
doing.
reason why they are against him and really going hard on him.
Well, yes, some aspects of the population are against him,
Yes.
but there are some who are also for him, and that's why he's showing them his support. Because maybe he thinks if he does that, then he's going to rack in the votes. So I'm not sure why, because he was told. I mean, a lot of people were cautioning the Brazilian government that with the way their president was handling the issue of COVID-19, they might witness, an increase in spread, a surge. I really don't understand. But anyways, I really hope that maybe at this point he will realize how serious things are.
I hope so,
and
too.
he'll put in place measures. But let's cross over to Dr. Bertha Sewa Aya, infectious disease specialist, and Dr. Newman Arthur, who is our clinical psychologist. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I hope you're well, by the way. Dr. Bertha, I was hoping that we could also be joined by Eugene Sebastian Arthur so that we can complete the conversation on genomes and the infectivity test and all of that. I don't know if you still want to touch on it, even though he's not around, or you'd want to hold on till he comes back on.
Well, we can wait, but just briefly, yesterday, I think the summary of it was he had suggested that there was an infectivity test that could be done. And your audience to mean that this is readily available and that why were we doing it? So I told him, and apparently he was referring to something called the plaque test, PLAQUE, and sometimes it's able to measure infectivity of a virus because it watches it multiply over time. And we established that this is a test that will take 1 week versus the 6-hour PCR test. It is what the South Koreans had used to test a few patients. We established that it is not practical to do that. Besides, the PCR is way faster, and it's not been recommended by any country or regulatory body such as the WHO or CDC. And so we agreed that he just mentioned as a comment if for any particular individual we wanted to know for sure. And I also reviewed the original study that had reported it. And frankly, they followed the contacts of those who had originally tested positive by PCR. And 3 of those had become positive, but it wasn't clear whether they were positive. They had gotten contact with other infected patients because they had gotten into contact with these patients had tested positive the second time. And so he promised to come on the program and explain himself.
Okay, well, we'll just hold on. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us this morning, and so maybe tomorrow we'll have him on so that we can have that conversation. But also, Dr. Newman, welcome to the show, and I hope you're doing well. I'd like to start off with you this time around, and I want us to talk about children going back to school. I mean, we still don't have any clear information as to when exactly schools will be reopened. But we do understand that when it comes to children, the ability to retain is very high for most of them. But in this case, where majority of them, or maybe some of them, are not getting the opportunity to still study whilst at home, because they don't have access to e-learning, what do you suggest that when schools reopen, do we repeat the academic year? Do we, go back to this same level just so that they can catch up on what they may have lost? Or do we just move on?
Well, maybe instead of repeating the whole year, they may have to increase their time in terms of the time they spend in school. Because generally, I think most schools may close like around 3 o'clock for most of the secondary schools. So probably have to increase it to about 4 o'clock, maybe an hour extra so that they can catch up. Then maybe they can organize some weekend sessions here and there. I think that would help, because trying to repeat the whole term or year, it may not be too good. The cost involved and all may be too huge.
But what about the children? What about those in primary? Because they are the ones that may likely be most affected.
Well, primary school, it's fun time. So even if they repeat the year, it may not affect them much. But still with the primary school, they may have to maybe skip some lessons and see how they can join lessons, other lessons moving forward. Because around that time, they may not be learning something that may be too much. So they may have to find a way of combining some topics to make sense. But I don't think that repeating the year for primary school is necessary.
What about parents who are calling for the double track system across board? And not just parents, but some, people in the sector, the education sector as well, because they're asking for a double track so that we can have more children, being able to catch up and all of that. What do you think about double track for all levels?
Is it double track because of this season?
Oh, okay.
Is it double track because of this season?
Yes, because of this season.
Oh, I think the season, what we are trying to prevent is infection. So double track or no double track, there will still be some spread of the infection.
But at least we'll reduce the number of children per class if we do the double track. So let's say 70 children per class, half of them will come to school in the morning and half in the afternoon. That limits the level of contact, don't you think so?
It would, but you know what? If you put kids in a certain environment, trying to contain them in a certain environment will be difficult. Especially in the primary schools, it will be very, very difficult to primary and GSS. They will share things, they will hug each other, they will run around, they will eat together. It will be very, very difficult to contain them. And think about it, even in our normal homes, how easy it is to contain children in our normal homes with 1 or 2 kids around. It's difficult. They will run around and all that. And so we may have to find, the double track reduces the number, but it may not reduce the infection in the various schools. It may not.
What about the psychology of these children? I mean, this long break of having to stay at home, possibly not doing much, or maybe studying for just about 2 hours and the rest you're only focused on watching TV, playing around, and all of that. Is it not going to slow down their, level of maybe intelligence, if I may ask? Don't you think it's going to have an effect?
Oh, it would have some delay, but it won't be that significant. Actually, if you look at all the research going on, and even for past pandemics, you realize that stress amongst them may be higher, even after the pandemic. But generally, they'll be able to adjust if you go back to normal school, normal schedule. I don't think it should, because you think about the risk of spreading the infection and the risk of what is happening to them around this time. I think we should be able to contain the disease to some point before we allow them to go back. I think so, because trying to control them. And think about it, if one child has COVID-19 in a certain school, right, that impact of the fact that there's COVID-19 in the school may even be more than when they are. I think so, because of all the anxieties around. And imagine a parent hears that there's someone in the school who has COVID-19. It's going to create unnecessary fear and panic, even among the students.
All right.
I think we should have some control over this season before we allow them to go back to school.
I see. Okay, Dr. Bertha, I noticed that you were nodding when I asked about the double track. I don't know if you want to touch on that before we move on.
Oh, that's simply because the Centers of Disease Control here has recommended that it might be useful to limit the number of students coming to school if the schools should reopen. And so I thought, double track temporarily for a while, if that's what's going to decrease the volume of the number of children entering the school at a time, it will certainly add to it to be more of a systematic social distancing or physical distancing versus trusting that the children will be able to self-distance themselves.
I'll come back to you, Dr. Newman, about this particular one and what kind of effect it might have on the children if we decide to embark on it. But Dr. Bertha, let's talk about the use of plasma. Now, it looks like it's gaining grounds. The conversation is growing. A lot of people are beginning to maybe agree to the use of plasma in treating people with COVID-19. What I want to ask, however, is that what's the level of potency, especially for someone who may have showed signs and gone to the hospital for treatment, as against an asymptomatic patient? So if we're taking the plasma from these people who might have received treatment, is it more potent in using that to treat others?
All right. So first of all, anywhere that convalescent plasma has been used for COVID-19, the recommendation or there's a requirement for both the donor and the person going to receive it. The person has to be severely ill or critically ill. And critically ill is defined by the fact that they're in something called septic shock. Septic shock, your blood pressure is dropping and you're about to die if we don't do something emergently. Your kidneys are failing, your lung is failing, or you have respiratory failure, or what we call multi-organ failure. It means when we look at you, you're in the ICU, your kidney is failing, your liver is failing. Essentially, you are at the point of death. And so you have to meet this criteria. It's definitely not for asymptomatic people or somebody who has mild shortness of breath from an pneumonia. So this has been studied. So just historically, plasma has been used for rabies, polio, hepatitis B, Ebola, the SARS outbreak, even the Middle East respiratory syndrome. It's not, this is just being tried this time. And the most recent study that was done out of New York, I believe it was reported this week, they found that when you look at those critically ill patients, the death rate among those who received the plasma was 12% versus 24% in those who didn't receive it. Now, you have to remember that for people who are critically ill in the hospital, their risk of dying is more than 11%. So I think that for those patients to go from 24% to 12%, that's 50% less the risk of dying. So I think so far for now, the evidence suggests that it will be quite useful.
But is there a risk of passing on other forms of infections to the next person if they use my plasma for that person?
Well, I mean, historically, blood is screened for almost all pathogens, including rabies, rabies, HIV, hepatitis B, all those. And secondly, before blood will be donated to convalescent plasma would be given to somebody, they would make sure that blood doesn't have the virus in it. Secondly, the patient should have been feeling better 14 days before donating the plasma. It means you're not going to collect the plasma of an ill patient to be given. And some hospitals even use 28 days after discharge. So you sign a consent that yes, you will give the plasma when you are discharged, and then you wait for 28 full days before you come and donate the plasma. And even then, at least in the US, the recommendation is that you have to store a little bit of that person's plasma so that in future, if there's a reaction or if they pass infection on to somebody, you can go back to that person's blood and check what was in it before. So it's not given blindly at all. And at least currently in Ghana, the plasma is part of our guideline, but we're not giving it yet because it's with the FDA for approval.
Okay, that's interesting. But let's just say that I have comorbidity and I heal from the virus. Would my system be stronger in terms of passing on the plasma to somebody else who may not have had the comorbidity?
Not exactly, but here's where the comorbidity plays a role. It's been shown that people who have mild illness have a low level of antibodies. So that's another thing I didn't mention. They don't just give anybody's plasma at all. They have to check for what they call neutralizing antibodies. It has to be high enough. So the sicker you are, the higher your antibody levels. And so maybe the people with comorbidities are likely to get more sick. And so their plasma is more likely to have more antibodies to be given to the patient.
Should we then be focusing on using the plasma as the cure for COVID-19? I know that we're working on vaccines and all of that, but we really do not have any cure yet. Should we start focusing on that?
I have been very excited about it because it has worked in the past for other conditions, including Ebola. But we have a roadblock we have to. So the blood bank in Ghana is working on it because I've been speaking to the leadership about, do we have it? I got all excited and they said, well, they've added it to the national protocol. But every country's Food and Drug Administration has to approve it. And I think for now, our bottleneck in Ghana is the ability to measure those antibody levels. That way, we're not just collecting any plasma at all. But looking at it this morning, it looks like in the FDA, US, for example, you don't exactly need to have those antibody titers available before you can collect the plasma. So I think at this point, we're waiting for our Food and Drug Administration to give us the green light so that we can implement it.
Okay.
And it won't be general. It has to be in the setting of maybe a clinical trial, or we have to have very good reason for giving it to someone.
I know it's too early to ask, especially because we're waiting for the FDA to approve and all of that. So let's just say that they actually do approve, and this becomes a form of cure for COVID-19. Would it be better to allow people to step out there, you know, not necessarily adhere to the safety precautionary measures and get infected, so that as more people get, you know, healed, then we know that we can heal more people with the use of their plasma?
No, I don't think
it's not a good idea. Okay.
the risk would outweigh the benefits, meaning by the time you get to that point, you'd have allowed so many vulnerable people like the elderly to die before you would have achieved your goal. So I don't think that that would be. And another thing that I've been told is apparently they say people don't like to donate their plasma. So even after the FDA approves, they have to try and find a way of telling the patients who are recovering, or all those 5,000 people who recovered or have had the virus, that, you know, could you please give us your plasma? So, I mean, we're talking about it. Hopefully some of them are listening, and they would make a decision. That, I mean, over here, I have to say that people are very willing to try things, to donate. Oh, if it will help somebody, certainly. But, you know, with all the stigma surrounding COVID-19 in our population, it's a bit more difficult convincing people that, you know, give your blood because it's going to help someone. Yeah,
but let's just say that, and I'm being very positive and optimistic here, let's just say that Ghana still goes ahead, you know, to approve the use of the plasma. Can we then also pass it on to other countries that may have high number of cases in terms of helping to cure their cases as well?
Well, you mean, can we share the
plasma? Yes.
Oh, yes, we can. But even more interesting, Africa CDC is looking to come out with a guideline on it so that it won't just be maybe Ghana or Nigeria. Like we would approve it on a more continental level so that countries would have more confidence proceeding with it.
Okay. Dr. Newman, coming back to you, and again about the issue of double track, like Dr. Bertha said, there has been, what is it, a directive, if I'm using the right word?
Right. Reduce the number of people.
Exactly. So if that's the case, would it not confuse the children? Because knowing, especially the little ones, knowing that I wake up in the morning and I'm supposed to go to school. Now, mommy says I can't go to school till afternoon. And so I have to start getting used to a new routine all of a sudden, and I have to go to school in the afternoon. Won't that affect the children in any way?
They would adjust because they have the capacity to adjust. So with time, maybe initially, maybe uncomfortable, they would adjust. In our days, we used to do double track, morning, afternoon, and even in poorer communities, one person would go to school in the morning with a school uniform. Then they will meet on the way, exchange dresses, and go for the afternoon.
Oh, you used to do that?
I think they would adjust. Oh, in the villages, they used to do that.
I see.
I didn't, but I schooled in a primary school in a village. So some people used to do that. I think that children have to also adjust. So initially, maybe uncomfortable, a bit stressful, away from their normal activities. But with time, they're going to get used to it.
And I'm asking because eventually, if we're able to have this under control, then we're going to go back to the regular schooling system. And so then everybody goes back to school the normal time. And this is still going to cause some more confusion because I'm going to adjust to going to school in the afternoon. And then all of a sudden, maybe after some 3 months, they say, okay, go back to the regular routine. Is this not going to affect their retention level?
Yes, it will initially, but with time they are going to readjust because life is like that. Your ability to cope and adjust is part of your mental health. 6 things we use to measure someone's mental well-being. Coping and adjusting to situations is also part of it. I think that they should be able to adjust. Initially, it may be difficult, but with time we expect them to adjust, and that is how life is. They will get used to it. I think some people will even be happy because it may afford them time to sleep, more when they are in the afternoon and stuff like that. But they are going to adjust.
Okay. Well, we're going to take some more questions from our viewers. And so, Anita, what do you have for us?
Okay, this one says, hi, Bella. Can you please help me ask Dr. Bertha exactly when we can confidently say that the country has finally reached its peak? Because I remember very well the Ministry of Health declared the country reaching its peak when we recorded 3,709 cases. But surprisingly, the case count is rather increasing day by day. And this is from Kwame in Sunyai.
Dr. Bertha.
So yeah, you can only declare a peak when the rate at which your numbers are decreasing starts to increase. So let me explain. For example, I'm just going to use arbitrary numbers. Let's say you get 10,000 on one day, and then the next day you have 9,000, then the following day you have 4,000, and then you have 1,000. It means the rate at which you are decreasing in numbers continues to increase, so that if you plot a curve of your daily cases down, you're starting to go down rapidly. So that's when you can say that you've peaked. So I know that people can use mathematical modeling to determine, and I know Ghana has engaged a few of these statisticians to do that. But until you are getting those decreasing numbers, you cannot say for sure that you've peaked. And for the virus, a lot depends on people's behavior. So until we get to the point where everybody's gotten the message down to a fine science of I'm supposed to wear my mask. I understand a lot of the market women are still not wearing their mask. Until we get to a point of, let me keep my own social distance, let me put on my mask. And that sense of personal responsibility, and we're decreasing in numbers, it will be hard to predict when we will peak, especially when as a continent, as a whole, the Africa hasn't peaked and we still have neighbors. So I think that would be a little different. At least I cannot predict it at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe our time is up. Maybe we should take just one last
message for Dr. Newman.
Yes.
Okay, this one says, please ask Dr. Newman about those working outside the country and are stuck in Ghana and might be going through a lot of stress and restlessness. What is the way forward?
Well, it's difficult to answer actually, and I think that, like we said, all the things we said about dealing with stress may be relevant for them. So they should keep a positive attitude about this season. They should surround themselves with positive people. They should rest more. They should eat well. They should exercise, and also they should find creative ways of going about their lives in this season. And if anybody is struggling and needs help, they should seek help from any of the mental health workers, maybe a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor, to be able to deal with specific needs, because it's going to be stressful. It's going to be stressful for them. And so their approach and mindset about the receiving should only be positive. And they should also depend on God on the way forward for them. Because it's challenging and their situation is practical, right? So with this, it may help them.
Okay. All right. I believe that's it for today. And so thank you so much for speaking to us. And we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. All right. So that's Dr. Bertha Sewa Ayi. She's an infectious disease specialist. And also Dr. Newman Arthur, who is a clinical psychologist. We'll be speaking to some Ghanaians stranded in China and in South Africa to tell us more about their conditions. And so keep watching. It's COVID-19 360. We'll be back. Welcome back. It's COVID-19 360, and now we're crossing over to other parts of the world to speak to some Ghanaians stranded. And well, it's been about 2 months and a few days since the borders were closed, and ever since that time, these stranded Ghanaians have been calling on government to open the borders so they can come in, to the extent that they are even willing to pay for their own flight and are willing to undergo mandatory quarantine just so they can be home. And this is because of the level of stress that they're experiencing as a result of living in someone else's country. Now, I believe that the government of Ghana also has indicated that the embassies in the various countries reach out to some of these stranded Ghanaians to take their details, and much later a decision will be taken as to how to bring them back home and when to bring them back home. And this has also generated a lot of conversation because a lot of these people are also saying they have not been reached out to. And there are a few other issues as well. Now, there's an SOS call from China, especially from Ghanaians living there, and they'll tell us exactly what the situation is like and why they're actually sending us this SOS call. But quickly, let's go to South Africa, where I have Michael, Pakwame, and Kinsley. Now, you remember that Kinsley spoke to us about 3 weeks ago, also detailing his experience in South Africa and how he got stranded. He's back on the line. And so good morning. I'll start off with you, Kinsley. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm fine, thank you very much. And I'm glad that you look well. I just want to find out, since the last time you spoke to us, has there been any development?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to your cherished viewers. I want to thank you for this opportunity this morning. I think I got a press release from the High Commission about a week ago that they are collating names of people who came around who got stranded here.
Okay.
And so we did so, yes.
Okay.
And so since that we've not heard anything from them.
You're saying about how many weeks ago? About 2 weeks ago?
Yes, this weekend will be exactly 2 weeks. Yeah.
I see. All right, let me just cross over and speak to Michael. Michael is also another Ghanaian stranded in South Africa. Hello, Michael. Okay, I'm trying to unmute yours. Michael, can you hear me? Okay, having a bit of a challenge. Let me just see if I can unmute Pakwame. Okay, Pakwame, I'll speak to you first as I try to fix Michael's problem. But also tell me, how long have you been in South Africa?
Well, I've been here since, I think, March. Yeah.
Since March? When exactly in March?
I think on the 2nd March I was here.
Okay. And you went there for business, a visit, if I may ask?
Yeah, I was here for a visit. Yeah, and then things got uplocked.
How long was your trip supposed to last? And did you not have the chance to at least change the date on your ticket so you can come home earlier?
It was supposed to last for 3 months. So, I tried to come back. But I didn't know anything about this lockdown. So when we had that time, we didn't know anything about it until we had a president saying that the country has been locked down and airports has been locked down.
Wait, if you say you didn't know anything about it, what exactly didn't you know about? Were you not aware that COVID-19 was in Africa around that time?
Yeah, we knew that COVID-19 was in Africa, but we didn't know that the airports were going to be closed down.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Our flight, like me, I was supposed to come around 17th of April. Yeah.
Oh, 17th of April.
Yeah.
But I believe that from when the president announced, I think there was about, what, 24 hours or 48 hours, you know, notice of the borders being shut. Did you make any attempt at all to try to change your ticket?
Yeah, we were planning. No, I wanted to come, but I already have because my time was not up to, was not due to return.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any other option than to wait.
So how have you been surviving? Are you living with family? Do you have to pay for rent?
We are paying rent. Currently I'm staying in a guest house. We have to pay rent. We have to buy food and stuff. So things are very, very hard for us.
Roughly, and I know this is quite personal, but if you don't mind divulging, roughly how much have you spent since you got stranded?
If I will be honest, it depends on the place I am, and I'm paying about 2,000 a month for the rent.
When you say 2,000, is that dollars, rand?
No, 2,000 rent. That is about 600. And I'm buying food up and down and stuff. So within this three something months, my money is finished.
So how are you surviving?
Currently, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's sometimes some of the Ghanaians out there, they give something to eat on. And everybody is also struggling to survive. So we see, you can't be going to Ghana for food because they're also struggling. That's the problem.
Okay, let's hear from Michael as well, and then we'll come back to the issue of government saying that they'll deal with the issue of stranded Ghanaians case by case. Michael, you're also welcome.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Thank you for joining us. So how long have you also been stranded in South Africa?
Yeah, I've been stranded here since on the 18th of March.
Since the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah,
when
I was supposed to stay for just 1 month. You know, because it was a business trip. It was more of a business trip than an ordinary visiting. So.
Did you attempt to change the date on your ticket, just so you can return before?
You know, when we heard of the lockdown, I actually I got in touch with the agent, you know, but then there was this rush. I mean, everyone was so, the network was always jamming. He couldn't actually do the changes. It was like, hey, there's this rush and I'm having the system blocked. So when it's rectified, then lo and behold, the announcement came that, hey, the airports have been locked in Ghana, and then the South Africa also made their announcement. So it made it very difficult to make any move out of here.
Did you try to at least contact the embassy in South Africa to let them know that?
The embassy, we made several contacts to the embassy, but then nothing concrete was forthcoming. I mean, there wasn't any assurance. You see what I mean?
When you say there wasn't assurance, what exactly was the conversation like?
We tried to reach out to the embassy to see the best way they can help us out in this situation, but then it was like they were talking about this Ghana association and stuff like that. But then we don't live here, so how can we join a Ghanaian association over there?
Oh, they asked you to join an association?
No, they were saying they did mention something like that. There's this association that they are dealing with, and everything goes through that process, you know.
So when was the last time you interacted with anyone at the embassy?
That was around that time, the month of March.
Okay.
But actually, we have the platforms. So we have the administrators of the platform. They are the ones who actually do the interactions with the embassy. Then they will come with the feedback and they put it on the platform. So we just follow it up.
So as it stands now, there's really no feedback from the embassy?
Well, as of now, it was just about collating names and stuff like that for any help that might come their way.
Okay. What about you? Okay. What about you, Parkwame? Have you? Sorry to cut you, Michael. But Parkwame, what about you? Have you tried reaching the embassy?
It's the same story. We are all.
You're also a part of it.
Same platform.
Okay, but the government recently said that they were going to deal with each individual case, and it will be done case by case as to whether they're going to allow people in or not, and so they'll let us know when they make a decision. Did you hear about this, and what do you make of it?
Well, you mean they're going to deal with us individually?
Well, they said it's case by case, and so I guess it depends on maybe how severe each person's case may be. That is what will inform their decision.
Case by case, then it actually depends on what they mean by case by case. But when they are saying individually, then I haven't actually had any contact from the embassy that, hey, Michael, this is your case and this is how we're dealing with. So that's my understanding of dealing with individuals and case by case.
Okay. How about you, Kinsley? Are you privy to that information of them dealing with each individual's case? Okay, hold on. I think I muted your... Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Bella, I created the platform and then brought all my brothers and sisters onto that WhatsApp platform. The truth to be told that the officers in the High Commission have a minimum power to support us as we are talking to right now, because it's like all what they are doing is to collect data and nothing apart from that. There's absolutely nothing that they have communicated to us about whatever is going on. Even a few days ago, I tried to find out from one Sandra over there whether there's any good news for it. I mean, she read the news, but she read the message, but she didn't reply me. Usually, I try to meet him early in the morning to see how she's doing and all those things, just to get some information. Absolutely nothing that they are communicating to us. Lola, you gave me this opportunity about 2 weeks ago, almost about a month or two, that in fact, the hard truth is that it's like they don't care about that. I mean, they don't really care about how we are faring. You see,
why would you say that?
Hello? Yes, I'm saying this because if the High Commission says they are not aware about the stranded Ghanaians,
is that what the High Commission said? Kinsley, can you hear us? Okay, it looks like we're dealing with a bit of a challenge, but we have Mimi on the line, and so I'll quickly cross over to China, speak to Mimi, and hopefully by then we'll be able to reconnect with our South Africans. Mimi. Hello, Mimi. Okay. Looks like we lost our connection. Okay, well, I think Kinsley is back, so let him just finish. And Mimi, please hold on. We'll speak to you soon. Kinsley, you were saying what? The High Commission said...
I know the core mandate of the High Commission in South Africa is to take care of his citizens who are stranded or who are in need. There's absolutely nothing like that. Bella, you see, the whole reasons why we are here today is, Bella, 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, when the Kuwaiti deportees arrived in Ghana, I'm on the line.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, when the Kuwaiti deportees arrived in Ghana, we saw the Deputy Foreign Minister was interviewed. And this is what he was saying, that, yes, we called the stranded Ghanaians, called on the government to assist them. And we said we are going to pay our own ticket. Yes, we did said that. The truth is that we did said that we are going to take care of our tickets. Yes, the reason why we said that is because we have already bought our ticket. We have some people who are already living here has also bought their own return ticket. So that means that we have ticket to go back. So when we are crying to the government that we are ready to foot our flight ticket, that is exactly what we are saying.
Wait, you are saying that you want to use the ticket from the various airlines, your return tickets?
Exactly.
But is that not going to be cumbersome? Because when will these airlines refund, the monies or transfer the monies to, let's say, that one airline that is supposed to bring you all back home?
Yes, I know definitely it's going to be a bit cumbersome. But the truth is, at the time we call on the government, if the government had attend to us at that material moment, I believe, hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I believe that if the government had attendance to us at that time, what would have been doing is that we would have gotten some money at that time to pay for any chartered flight whatsoever.
Okay.
Please, I'm on the line.
Yes.
Yes, we could have gotten money to pay for any chartered flight at that time.
Okay.
The government did not listen to us at all. And what happened is that we have exhausted all our money throughout this season, this time. You know, lockdown means that we cannot do anything, we cannot work.
All right.
And so if can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but hold on. I'll come back to you. Let me also cross over to China. Mimi has been on the line for a while, and she plays an SOS call. Mimi, good morning. Mimi,
good morning.
What's your name?
Yeah, good.
Okay, good morning.
Good evening.
Yes, okay, no problem. Inti who send a message say Chinese government no mamo another month. Cheche muma and why?
Yeah. The attorney say China government, you know, ama Ghanaians and yes Ghanaians in Africans no more hano. Obia oye overstay only visa no. Why issue 1 month visa? Ama obia exit visa so obia mfempie in free country mu. Yeah, and you know, so far no yabefa Kenya foko. Ya exit Kenya for omoye willing so mbeko no omoko. Aka ye mu Ghana for no. Nigeria for so gusu ye prepare.
Okay.
Emma, me no ka say no. Ebi mo ha omonsa aka visa no ebi mo so they are still on the process amoye. Me no ka say there are some of people are omo exit visa ne kura ewu mo masa ko renew no.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Inti
you know
Mitio, kasa.
Yeah, Mitio. Yeah, and to say no, yeah, mono, yeah, how any problem, Yanni say, yeah, pesi, back to our country because yeah, can be said, kuntu and a chianeko. So far, China, ye among countries straight to say, yeah, pemo hamonko, but your mo yeninano is to tell you, say, they don't need you in their country. So go back to your country. And that's what here. Yes, free meaning said there are so many Ghanaians or more outside Ghana, almost some person more beefy, but the case now China no is different from all other Ghanaians or more different country because
you cannot tell for a fact. Me too.
I can say for a fact because the Ghanaians or more other countries, no, they are free to do whatever they want to do. But here is the case: are we in China? We can't go to shops, we can't go to supermarkets, and we have been home for 6 months now. Imagine saying Jumani 30 from December. Yet.
Okay, that's yours. Now, Mimi, I'm sure that the embassy in China, the Ghana embassy in China, may be privy to this information of the 1 month exit visa. Have they communicated to you as to whether they have any plans coming up for you? Mimi, oh, it's quite unfortunate that we're still dealing with an issue of connectivity. And it's the same with my South African friends here as well. Mimi, okay. Now maybe say Ghana embassy network China. No, I'm sure that they are aware of the new directive by China government to give you 1 month exit visa. Have they communicated to you, say, what plans be for you and ABB?
Yeah, you're very much aware of whatever going on. Now, in your letter on the 13th of this month, say. Why you willing so be coffee? I will bet me a 2 of flight ticket cano. Faudimbra.
Okay.
Estimate on the Maya is between 8,000 to 15,000 RMB. Or the Kogan schema. Yes, 65,000 to me can say 65,000 Ghana cedi to
65,000.
Me can say yes, Ghana cedis from 65,000. It is can you say?
Wait, are you saying 6,500 or 65,000?
6,500 something. It is can you say 65 million?
Okay, so 6,500. Because 65,000 Ghana cedis is quite steep. Okay, Auntie, that's around the figure. What's a mutia to? Oh, me losing a biome. Okay, well. Our time is up, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we can't continue this conversation. Hopefully, tomorrow we would get Mimi back on the line and our South African friends as well. And so thank you all so much for tuning in. And yeah, this is it. This has been COVID-19 360. Half-baked information. We apologize. Tomorrow we'll try and bring you the rest of this conversation. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.